You said, therefore, we need to get rid of drugs. God works in mysterious ways. You said the wrongdoing of General Mkhwanazi, the Pablo Escobar of South Africa, has led us to this. Because Pablo Escobar was a politician that captured the state, and that is where we find ourselves today. And I'm going to get straight to the point, because you said that we need to uncover the rot in South Africa, right? Everything has been asked in terms of the technical questions. All that is unfolding, it is not about that political killing stars team. I want to ask you, number one, you referenced Brian Mokhwetsi as being politically connected. For the sake of the record, to which party was he connected?
It is my belief that when Brian Mokhwetsi came public and he spoke about being a member of the African National Congress, when the Minister of Police said he's his comrade, meaning that he's a member of the African National Congress, from the records we have at hand on our side, we know him as a member, as a person that maybe used to be, maybe of late is no longer, but he used to participate and being a member within that African National Congress.
Thank you, sir. You mentioned that payments were made to the ministers, the ANC ministers' account for the guests to travel. You mentioned January 8th celebration. What is January 8th?
The payments were not made to the minister. The payments were made to the account that Mokhwetsi provided to Nhlahla in relation to the payment of the transportation accommodation of the guest of the minister to the January 8. January 8 is well-known gathering of the African National Congress that takes place the first week of January in a year, and I think it used to be done on the 8th of January. That's why I adopted the name. Although this was not on the 8th of January, it was the weekend after the 8th.
Thank you. You referenced political involvement by Chief of Staff Nkabinda, right? You've seen him wearing political T-shirts. Of which party?
Of the African National Congress.
Do you believe General Sibiya's appointment was politically driven? And if yes, by which party?
I wouldn't know from the records we have at hand that the appointment of General Sibiya might have been done with the omission of some crucial evidence that they were supposed to look at. But the appointment is done by the National Commissioner, and I don't know the National Commission of belonging to a political party, so I cannot associate the appointment of Sibiya with a political party.
I quote, the country, South Africa, will burn, right? As we sit here today, do you believe that our country has been captured? And if so, by which party?
I won't say that the country has been captured by party, but the country has been captured by criminals.
By criminals?
That are using politicians.
That are using politicians. Yes. From which party?
Oh, well, the ones that I know of are from the African National Congress. I don't know if there's others from the other parties.
You mentioned as well, I believe the citizens, the families and children of this country are worth fighting for. What drove you to say those utterances on the 6th of July? You also make mention of a bigger investigation. The bigger investigation here is drugs. Can you elaborate on that? And also when you say that you have done your analysis to show that many of the arrests that are being made, it is as a result. How did you do that analysis?
Honorable members, we as a police on quarterly basis release crime stats. Within our midst, we've got analysts that will conduct analysis about the crime that has happened. For every arrest we make, we conduct an assessment as to why, the question as to why did you do this? What led into this? And especially with the shooting, a majority of shooting incidents we have in KZN, in the area of Inanda, there's always been that why question. Why these boys do what they do? They're involved in crime, they are killing, they are raping, they're doing all that. But what makes them to be like this? Yes, families might not control them, and until we realize that they don't do these things when they're sober, and they do these things when they're under influence. So there is this energy behind them that drives them to do what they do. When they smoke that crack cocaine, they become animals. They become vicious, you know, like a pit bull. They will not feel any pain. They fear nothing. That's what drives them into that. So that's when our conclusion was, these drugs changes the behavior of a child, and this child ends up being seen as a bad child. So until we stop what makes the child to behave in this fashion, we're not going to win the war. We'll end up killing everyone that we come across. But we're supposed to actually close the tap here on drugs so that the behavior of the child can change. Then there's no need for us to even arrest this person.
Do you think we have a national crisis at hand?
Yes, we do. Why I say that is because we have only one scanner in the port that takes about 3,000 containers into the country. We scan less than 10% of them as they come in. God knows what in those containers are. Children have been trafficked. Illicit goods are moving into those containers. We only have one scanner that sees what's inside when that truck travels on that road, on that entry.
Do you think that that is intentional?
Executive must help us. If portfolio committee and everyone else that helps us to say, how are we prioritizing? What is your plan to deal with drugs? What about this, what about that? And where do you allocate your budget? Then we could be talking now. Instead of when we are saying, why are you buying that property? Why are you using the finance to go and invest in that event? Why don't you buy this resource? You have a truck picking up goods here in Cape Town. It travels from Cape Town with a container until it reaches deep in Johannesburg. It passes 10 roadblocks on the road because there's a lock on the back of that container. It doesn't get searched. Nobody opens it. It leaves Cape Town 1,500 kilometers to Johannesburg without being searched.
Sure.
And we don't have means to do it. And we need budget. It doesn't cost a lot of money to buy these scanners, but there's no will to buy them. And nobody pays attention on it. You talk, only now that the management of the police is starting a process of procuring it. But we've been talking about this thing for donkey years. It's only now we were starting to do that. When ATDF back in the days would block the freeway, we're going back at the private sector to help us with a breakdown to remove the trucks on the road. We still do today because government doesn't have tow trucks to remove a truck on the road. That's how bad things we have. And you cannot say there's no budget for it.